Time and mental health might seem like an odd combination to talk about, but when you embrace time, you can stop holding yourself back and start living a much happier life, simply by changing your attitude towards time and well-being. How do you do that? Well, let's talk about time and mental health. I want you to know that the one thing that will make you feel instantly better about life is being more thoughtful about how you think of time. Wait, what? I know, this sounds like some boring philosophy piece, but I guarantee you it's leading to the single most mind-blowing, life-changing thing that you're going to hear today. First, why am I talking about time and mental health? Actually, you may not realize that they go hand in hand because your attitude towards time affects your mental health. Like whether or not you're learning from the past so that you can stop repeating the past over and over again. I mean, I'm sure you have plenty of advice that you'd give your younger self if you could. I know I do, starting with not posting on social media when I was drunk. Time is the one thing we all have, but also the thing that we never seem to have enough of. Every morning we start a brand new day. But how much time do we actually spend focused on that day? And how much of our time do we spend thinking about the past or worrying about the future? Because here's the thing. It's your ability to fully embrace the process of life that determines whether or not you achieve the results you want in life. And that involves learning how to be fully present in the moment and then staying present. And that then influences your overall mental health and well-being because it determines how satisfied you are in your life. So, what is time? Aside from being the way that we measure basically everything, it's also a word that we use to describe our existence as individuals. And we each get this finite amount of time on this planet. As far as I know, nobody has ever managed to live for forever. But instead of looking around at the world and going, wow, this is amazing, show me as much of this as possible in the time I have, we end up finding silly distractions to waste our time. Or we get involved in ridiculous squabbles with one another about things that just really do not matter. Here are 3 truths about time that you need to make your peace with in order to start achieving the results you want. Number 1, the past has passed, which means that what's done is done and it can never be changed, but it can be learned from, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Next, the future is unknown and unknowable. So instead of wasting all of your time and energy worrying about what may or may not happen, instead you need to learn how to deal with the unknown, and I'll tell you how to do that in a moment. And then truth number 3 is the only moment you have for certain is now. And that's why the present matters so much, because it's the only time we have for sure. Your future is determined by what you choose to do or not do here and now. So instead of being distracted by the past or the future, instead focus on living in the present moment. So let's talk about why a healthy attitude towards time matters. It matters because time is a teacher. You know more today than you did yesterday, and that's a good thing. Even if the things that you know today aren't great, at least you know them now. When you choose to treat time respectfully as a teacher, you begin to better understand the journey that you go on throughout your life. Like Alanis Morissette sang back in the 90s, you live, you learn. Having a healthy attitude towards time means accepting that you cannot turn back time, and you cannot ever predict the future. So what's left? The present. Because the present really is the only moment we have for certain. Are you living in the past? No, because that's not possible since it's already past. Are you living in the future? Unless you're these guys, then no. No, you're not. You live here in the present. So if you want to create a life that you feel passionate about and start achieving the results that you want for yourself, then you need to have a better and healthier relationship with time. How do you do that? Well, let's talk about how to learn to embrace time. And I could probably spend an eternity talking about time, but we don't have the time. And yes, that was a time joke. So I'm going to give you 3 of my most effective tips to get you started today, beginning with actually learn from the past. Because if you don't learn from the past, then you're doomed to repeat it. Learning from the past requires you to do 2 things. First, stop judging yourself, because you did the best that you could based on what you knew at the time, and that's why you cannot compare the past and the present. Because you didn't know then what you know now. So please stop being unkind to yourself about the choices that you made in the past. And second, take a step back and look at the past objectively and consider what it has to teach you. And even if that lesson is just what not to do next time, it's still an important lesson to learn. When you treat the past as a teacher, it can help you to grow. Next, stop worrying and start living. Because 99.9% of the things that you're worried about possibly happening will never happen. And I can say that with absolute certainty because it's been the biggest lesson for me in terms of managing my anxiety over the past decade or so. Worry will rob you of today's joy, but it won't actually prevent anything. So why are you wasting your time and your happiness by worrying? And I actually covered a lot of tips on how to deal with worry in episode 95 of my podcast, so you can either listen to it or read the transcript using the link in the episode description. And next, anchor your focus in the present, because focusing too much on the past or the future is actually stopping you from achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve in life. Life is lived here in the present, so you have to make a conscious choice each and every day to really live in the present. When you spend your time ruminating over the past or worrying about the future, you're robbing yourself of the one and only moment where you actually live now. When you make your peace with time and make it your friend instead of an enemy to be conquered, you can find greater peace of mind and satisfaction in life. And that's what enables you to achieve the results you want. Now, I talked about how to be more present in my book, Let's Talk About Mental Health, Volume 1, which is available on Amazon and Apple Books, and it's linked in the episode description below. Another way to stay present is to learn how to let go, which is what I cover in this video, so watch that next to discover how to start letting go for better mental health. And you'll find even more tips for managing your attitude towards time in episode 148 of my podcast, Let's Talk About Mental Health, which is linked below. Thanks so much for joining me today. Take care and talk to you next time.